Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Keep It Kula podcast. My name is Jacqueline. Today, I'm back with my special guest host, Owen. Thank you so much for joining this show once again.
Thank you for having me, Jacqueline. It's an honor to be back on.
Yeah, of course. So, last time I had you on, we were talking about Giants signing Russell Wilson. The draft is currently happening. A huge first round last night. Let's dive into it. Breaking news before I even let you talk. But the Giants have just drafted Cam Skattebo with their fourth round selection. This is the steal of the draft. I am telling you, Owen, this is the steal of the draft. This man was fifth in Heisman voting this past year. He is an absolute beast. I'm telling you, steal of the draft.
Listen, we could use a running back. So, like I told you, I don't know a ton about him, but we could use
Yeah.
a running back. We have a couple receivers now. We have some weapons. We have a few quarterbacks. So, listen, if you're saying fifth at Heisman and he's fantastic, I'm thrilled to hear that as a Giants fan.
No, in the bowl game, I think he ran for over 270 yards and he won MVP even though the team lost. Like this guy is an absolute beast. I cannot believe he fell to the fourth round. Like I'm shocked. Like I'm actually speechless because of this.
I was going to ask you, Jacqueline, do we know why he fell? Is there a reason why he fell? Is there
Just the
something
kind of
there?
player, like he's not maybe the most typical running back, I guess. So I think some teams were probably a little worried about him. But look, we have steals all the time. Like look at some of the greatest, NFL players of all time drop in the fifth, sixth round,
Tom
right?
Brady. Tom Brady, famously,
Tom
right?
Brady,
So,
greatest of all time, 100%. So now let's talk about who the Giants did pick. Thoughts on, like, obviously, like, we knew Abdul Carter was going to be a Giant. What was your thoughts though going into the draft and how you felt about that pick as well?
so, first off, right off the jump, there was a trade, which was like, whoa, what's happening? Right? Cleveland trades the pick. I'm like, all right, this
Right.
is, as a Giants fan, like, well, what's happening here, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that was wild. I think there was speculation that it was going to be Abdul Carter, and he seems like the real deal. Seems like an absolute stud. So I'm thrilled they got him. I think if we got Travis Hunter, that would have been incredible. We knew we weren't getting Cam Ward because Cam Ward we knew was going first the Titans all along, so we were never getting Cam Ward. I think, listen, we took the best available player. People are saying he could be, like an all-pro, like a generational type of guy. So I think it's fantastic. I think he's going to be great for the team. We'll have him with the big dogs going after all those quarterbacks. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, this Giants defense just got even better with already a stacked defense with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns.
Dexy Dexy.
In bed. Like Sexy Dexy, come on. Like Sexy Dexy and Abdul Carter under the same team is absolutely nuts. Yeah, Carter finished his past season with Penn State like with 12 sacks, like just an absolute dog. He a lot of similarities to Micah Parsons. I know they both went to Penn State. They both were number 11. There's a lot of similarities when you watch film of both guys and look at the kind of player Parsons is when he's healthy, right?
Listen, I don't love Micah Parsons. I'm sure you don't either, but he's a hell of a player. We got to admit it, right? He is a hell of a player. Listen, if he's Micah Parsons, that's unbelievable. That's like the dream if you're a Giants fan, right? So,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then before we talk about the Giants' next pick, I do want to talk more about that Travis Hunter trade. What were the Browns doing? Like please, someone explain to me what the Browns were doing.
one of my best friends in the world, shout out to you if you see it, my friend Jordan. I was chatting with him. He's a huge Browns fan. He lives in Cleveland. I was talking to him about it, and I think the breakdown is they did get a lot, right? They got a lot. They got stuff next year. I think they got a first next year, if I'm not
Yeah,
incorrect.
yeah.
Um,
2026.
they did get a lot, but obviously a huge risk. You're giving up someone who possibly plays two positions, who's a star, who, I guess it's very Cleveland-esque. If he ends up becoming like a Hall of Fame type of player, it feels such a Cleveland Browns type of move. I'll say that.
I think Travis Hunter was the best player in this draft. I think he's the best player I've seen, the best athletic or the best athlete I've seen in a long time. And to pass, like even the Titans, I know they need a quarterback, but I don't know, man. If I had the first pick, there's no way I'm not drafting Hunter. That is a generational talent right there. You have a wide receiver and a cornerback on the same team, and he's fantastic at both positions. So, look, I get it. I get the value that you get back, but to pass on Hunter is crazy to me.
I know. It's definitely a risk, and I'm sure for Cleveland sports fans, or specifically Cleveland Browns sports fans, I'm sure they're thinking, "Here we go again. We did something bad. Like we've messed this up. We made another mistake." I'm sure they're thinking that, but in truth, if they end up getting some great players from it, and they get players in all different type of places, I'm assuming part of their logic, and I'm not a GM, I don't know for sure, but I got to assume part of it is they're thinking, We can get multiple other great players, offense, defense, special teams, wherever. So I think they're thinking if we can get a bunch of guys now in other places, maybe it can end up working out. I guess TBD. Like, the truth about everything we're going to say today, Jacqueline, is all of it's TBD. It doesn't matter if it's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Mr. Dart. Doesn't matter who it is, right? It's all TBD. So you might think something's fantastic now, and then in 4 years you're like, oh no, it was a disaster. Or famously, Jacqueline, very famously, the Bills fans booing Joshua Allen, who's already an all-time great. I know he hasn't won, but an all-time great. So you just never know how things work out, is what I'm trying to say.
100%. And but now I'm thinking too with the Jaguars, are they now like a primetime team? Are they gonna get the big network games with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter on the same team? Like, are they gonna be a respected team again?
What if? And I know people aren't saying this. I think I've seen reports that he's gonna do a lot of like be a receiver and maybe some kind of cornerback assignments. What if they actually try to get him to do both? Like, how unprecedented would it be if they try to get this guy offense and defense basically playing the whole game? Like, that's unbelievable.
Like, that will be just like, this is why it's a guy I do not want to pass up for a team, because there's never been anyone like that. Or I think some guys have done that here and there, but an actual receiver corner, like, he doesn't have a proper position. It's just absolutely insane. So who knows? I feel like he'll likely just be a receiver and then have him in for like the big third down plays or kind of thing, or vice versa, have him in for more cornerback plays and then big third down receiver plays. I think there's so much to do, and with their new coach, you got to be creative with this guy. So if you're a creative coach, I think you're set. So I think it's fantastic. Okay, now I want to go on to the Giants' 25th pick. You and I were talking a little bit during this. Tell me your reaction to the Giants making this trade.
So I called you. We were texting, and I was freaking out. I thought in the moment it was for Shedeur. I obviously saw the reports. They were working out Shedeur. Obviously, they were also talking to Jaxson too. But yeah, I was freaking out. I was like, whoa. Like, I mean, it happens a lot, right? Where a team is, especially for a quarterback, they'll trade into the end of the first round because they want their guy, especially a quarterback. So it's not the most uncommon, but still, it was like, wow, like breaking news, Giants trade up. I think it's fantastic. Ultimately, we still need a quarterback. I know we have Russell Wilson. I know we have Jameis Winston. I know we have DeVito. We still need a quarterback. We need someone long-term. Russell Wilson's no spring chicken. Jameis Winston also isn't very young. And not really sure about DeVito. I don't think DeVito's at least at this point, don't think he's going to be a career starter or a guy who's leading us to a Super Bowl. So I think, like they're saying, Dable has this new Josh Allen, right? He has a project, a guy who will probably work under for, 1 or 2 years, and then hopefully in a year or two we can get him in there, and hopefully he's the guy. I'm so excited, right? We got our stud right at the beginning. We got a quarterback. I couldn't be happier. Will he turn out? We don't know, like I just said before, but I think it's a fantastic move. I think we addressed the quarterback need, and I honestly couldn't be happier.
Yeah, when you called me about this trade, I got really excited about the idea of Sanders, because we'll talk more about Sanders soon, but going into this draft, Sanders was a top 3 quarterback, right? Was a potential top 3 pick a month ago. And so when you call me saying, oh, like, we're going to get Sanders, I was talking about Dart prior to the draft. In my last podcast, I was saying how the Giants might trade up to get Dart. Potential with the Seahawks. I know they ended up training with the Texans, but it was with the Seahawks in the mocks. So the idea of Sanders got me excited just because of the kind of, the name he is, right? Deion's son, superstar, big name, flexes the watches a bit, right? So the idea of Sanders, so when they said Jaxson Dart, a part of me, I was shocked at first. I was like, wait, we're not getting Sanders? But then when you sit with it and you remember why Sanders is dropping and you read more reports, it's the best pick. I think it's the smartest pick in the draft. And I love Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart, Ole Miss, right? Look behind me. Mr. Eli Manning went to Ole Miss. They know what they're doing, right? He threw for over 4,000 yards this past season, 29 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. He is a classy guy. Amazing things said about him in the interviews. Everyone likes him. He's worked with Eli Manning before. He seems like an all-around good dude and a real leader. I like his swagger. I like his confidence. He seems like just like a sweet guy, and he has aura, right? We as Giants fans, we have never seen a quarterback with aura in our lifetime, Owen. In our lifetime. Eli Manning, the GOAT, the greatest shine of all time. They didn't really
very mild, right? Very even keeled, very, you see him on the sideline breathing heavy, right? Like, people are making fun of him. I hear you. I agree.
And Daniel Jones had zero aura. right? 0. So now we have this kid, Jaxson Dart, spelled with an X, which I love because my nickname's Jax. So, like,
Yep.
come
There
on.
we go.
The last name Dart, like, you got a name, last name Dart.
Crazy.
This
Crazy.
kid is destined for greatness, and I'm saying it right now that he will be a future Pro Bowler, All Pro, and will win the New York Giants a Super Bowl in the
He'll be
next
throwing
at
darts.
least.
He'll be
Huh?
throwing darts for the New York Giants.
Throwing darts to Mr. Malik Neighbors in the Super Bowl in the next at least 5 years. I'm saying it right now, okay? We're going to get there. So I am so hyped. Jaxson Dart is our guy. He will learn from Russell Wilson, a veteran, a Super Bowl champion, several Pro Bowl. He's made several Pro Bowls, right? This is who you want to learn from. Dayball, right? Dayball drafted Josh Allen when he was the coach, I believe, right? When he was the quarterback coach,
Yeah, they were there.
right?
Yeah.
This is his Josh Allen. We have gotten our Josh Allen or someone totally different who will be the next big name, who will be, oh, we're going to get the next Jaxson Dart. This is our guy, and I'm telling you, I'm so confident in him.
I'm with you. I think it's fantastic. I mean, we had the same reaction. I called it. I was like, we're getting Shedeur. And then you were like, wait, what? It's not Shedeur. And, you were a little disappointed. I think I was. Then we kind of, you sit with it, you process it. Super excited. I think it's fantastic. I think, like you said, Dayball's getting his next Josh Allen or his next Jaxson Dart, as we might say in a few years.
Mhm.
I think the really big thing to make the point on that I actually think is fantastic is in the last podcast, we discussed Russell Wilson quite a lot, of course, and we discussed the positives, the negatives. And there's definitely both, right? In terms of stuff you've heard of in the past as a teammate, but also a Super Bowl champion, right? There's a lot you can say about Russell Wilson. I think this is actually fantastic in a bit of a strange way because I think he knows there's competition, right? So he, I'm sure, thinks he's number one. I'm sure he'll have to battle with Winston.
Yeah, Dayball did announce that Russell Wilson is the current starter, but there will be a battle.
That's what I'm saying, for sure, and I think he should be the starter. But I guess it's, as a Giants fan, I actually like knowing that it's not – he can't, like, if he behaves improperly or does some of the stuff we heard about that he was doing in Denver and stuff on the plane and is a selfish teammate, it's not going to work because there's still Winston, still DeVito, although I don't know if DeVito might end up out or cut or who knows, but still DeVito, and now Jaxson Dart. So I actually I feel because of the competition, he has to sort of, I guess, be a good teammate, be a good character, right?
He's on his toes right now.
Right, he should be on his toes, right? So look, if he can lead the team, Wilson, and do good things and, play solid, fantastic. But if all of a sudden the reports are coming, he's not being a good teammate, doing, pulling these weird shenanigans, there's guys waiting in the wings, whether it's Winston, Dart, whatever. There are guys waiting in the wings. So, Wilson's going to have to, play his best and, be a good teammate. Or it might not work out, right? So I think in many levels, like both short-term and long-term, I think this is fantastic. I think he has an amazing name, Jaxson Dart. It's great. Like you said, he has aura. It's amazing. And I think, look, I said it last time, I think Shedeur, like, there's a lot with him. And I mentioned on a simple level, like, we maybe don't realize there is a lot of positives having your dad as a coach, someone who's been there and done that. But there's also a lot of stuff. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was tweeting during the first round and, like, saying the disrespectful to be respected. Like, a bit bizarre. You're still
say stuff after the first round, yeah.
Or I think he was even during. If maybe I'm wrong on this, tell me if I'm wrong.
I gotta fact check.
Double check. I think he was tweeting during the. So I think there's stuff there. Supposedly he didn't interview well, right? So
yeah, I got some reports here.
I know we can get into that. I'm sure you want to get into more about Shedeur, but there's
definitely. So currently, right now, we're filming this at 12:43 p.m. on Saturday. The fourth round is happening right now, and Sanders has still not been selected. This was a shock to all of us going into the draft. A month ago, he was a top 3 pick, then maybe a top 10 pick, then at least the latest would be the 21st pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then he falls out the first round. Okay, that's shocking, but you know what? He'll be a second round pick. Falls out the second, falls out the third, and who knows right now is he going to fall out the fourth. So this is what I think is going on with Sanders. These are all the reasons why he's not being selected or the possibilities. Is one, the teams don't think he's good enough. They don't think he's a starter. They don't like how he plays. They watch his tape and they don't see him as an NFL quarterback. That's one possibility. The next is his bad attitude. There's been times where he's blamed his teammates. He doesn't take accountability for himself. Next is his father, Deion Sanders, right? Your father's Deion Sanders, one of the greatest NFL players of all time. He's going to try to get a lot of say in what his son's career looks like. Teams don't want that. Next, his off-field presence, the way he flexes his money and his watches. And lastly, and this is what a lot of reports are saying, is that he had awful interviews with the teams. He was rude, and especially with the Giants. Apparently, he was quite rude to Dayball. Dayball tried to challenge him on one of the things that he said, and Sanders took a lot of offense to that. So that seems like the biggest thing. And lastly, I don't want to forget this one. Now, with him falling out the first round, it looks like that if a team does draft him, they don't want him as a starter. How will Shedeur Sanders and his father, Deion Sanders, react to him being a backup? Right?
Listen, I think you made a ton of amazing points. Like, I think everything you're saying is accurate, and there's a lot of merit to all that. I think really what I'm hearing, though, and everything you're saying, Jacqueline, is drama. Just so much drama associated with this player. I think he's obviously very talented, but when you have a lot of drama, put it this way. Another quarterback who is a Hall of Famer, who's fantastic, who has a ton of drama, always Aaron Rodgers. One thing I'll say with Aaron Rodgers, though, is you can have some drama when you won a Super Bowl, when you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, when you've been amazing. Now, granted, has it maybe hurt him in sometimes? Sure. But you can have the drama or have the issues because he's still going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's still, regardless, Super Bowl champion, and he's still, for better, for worse, you heard stuff about teammates, he was still great in the NFL. To have all this drama associated with you and you haven't played it down on the field is a problem, a big problem. The Deion Sanders stuff, like I just had mentioned a few minutes ago and we discussed before, it could be both good and both bad. Mm-hmm. So teams are probably looking at it in both a positive and a negative light. And then there's all this other stuff, flexing money, the tweets. There's a lot there. And I think it's just drama. And you're going to bring a guy who already has this much drama and he hasn't played it down, hasn't done anything. I think it's a lot there. And I think everything you said makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So
now, though, is there a chance that he goes undrafted because of the fact that teams don't want him, the drama of him being a backup and trying to fight for that spot?
Well, what's interesting, Jacqueline, is the way my head's thinking right now is maybe he goes undrafted, maybe he gets taken in the next 5 minutes. I mean, who knows what ends up happening today and the rest of the draft. But it could also end up being a great story now, right? Guy's supposed to go in the first round, possibly third overall, ends up being undrafted or ends up getting drafted very late, maybe fifth round, sixth round, and becomes a star. It could also be a great story in that sense where now he has a big chip on his shoulder, ends up becoming, a really solid or great NFL quarterback. Who knows how the story really ends? We only know.
I'm scared of him. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I do not want to play against Sanders because I think that this is his origin story, right? It's the villain origin story, right? Yeah. Being passed on all these teams and then making a name for yourself. I think I'm honestly shocked that the fact that he wasn't selected. Based on the tape that I watch and the games that I've seen him, I think he is at least a second round player. So there's a lot that we don't know of. And another thing that I mentioned last night, I posted a clip on my shorts last night, of how Brady has a lot to say with the Raiders now, right? Brady has worked very closely with Sanders, has trained him, has mentored him, has got to know him really well. Why is Brady passing on him? The Raiders need a quarterback for their future. Why is he passing on Sanders? There's got to be a lot that we don't know of and we'll never know other than the front office of every single team. There could be a lot of scandals that we don't know of. Maybe he's just awful in these interviews, like just generally awful.
You said it best. We just don't know, right? So I think there's a lot of question marks. We know there's something there. You just don't know exactly what it is.
But the talent is there, right?
Yeah.
He's extremely talented quarterback. And there's some guys that are being selected that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
A lot of guys.
I mean, listen, admittedly, I've said to you in the last podcast, I said to you before we started, there's a bunch of guys I don't know, right? I know some of the guys, but a lot of guys I don't know. And I know there's been at least 5-6 quarterbacks taken before Shedeur. There was only one quarterback that was known to be outright better than him, Cam Ward. That's the only quarterback. So if you take away all the drama, right, from Sanders, you take away everything, right? Take away the bad interviews, take away his father, take away all the stuff, the flexing money, he should be the second quarterback taken. But he's not. So I'm with you, Jacqueline. There must be more there we don't know about, whether it's scandals, whether it could be stuff, relationships. I mean, who knows? Because like if Brady has this relationship, you'd think that makes sense, right? They could take a flyer on him. Not even a flyer. Yeah. He's supposed to be a great quarterback. They could just outright take him. So I think you make a great point, Jacqueline.
I think it's absolutely shocking. I'll be checking to see if he's selected during this this podcast, but as of now, he's not. So I think the Giants. So going back to the Giants now, so far in the first 4 rounds, what grade are you gonna give the Giants draft?
Yeah, I mean, like, and obviously it's fresh. It's been in the last couple of days. It's hard not to give them an A-. It's really hard not to, right? Like. We moved up. We got a really good quarterback. If we didn't move up, who knows if we get him at the beginning of the second? You just don't know because Cleveland was there, and who knows? Maybe someone else trades up, right? So we got our guy third overall, Abdul Carter, who's going to be an absolute stud. It's hard not to give them an A-A. I mean, truthfully, when grading a draft, it's usually you can have a more full picture when you look 5-10 years later.
Yeah.
We obviously don't have the benefit of hindsight or, to move into the future, any superpower like that. But I think as of right now, like sitting here with you, Jacqueline, I got to give them an A- or A. What about you? What do you think?
Listen, I'm super biased right now. I'm really hyped up. I think there's a lot of adrenaline with this draft. I'm getting an A+,
Okay.
because Abdul Carter, I think a lot of people see him as the best player in this draft, even over Cam Ward and Travis Hunter, right? I don't think Cam Ward is the best player in this draft, but he's the best quarterback in this draft, and the Titans needed a quarterback, right? Then Travis Hunter is a generational talent, but Abdul Carter, I think, is the most, is the, not necessarily the safest pick, but stat-wise, he is the best player in this draft, so you got to give an A+ on that. Then the fact that the Giants were able to trade, because I think there was talks of the Rams interested in Dart, so if the Giants did not make that trade, he would be a Ram right now. So the Giants knowing to make this trade and also not making it too early, making it later, right? There's talks about them making a trade at 18th overall. So they didn't have to give up as much. So 25th overall, getting Dart, who is right now is the second best quarterback in this draft, apparently. So that I think is great. And then right now with them drafting Cam, who I think is the most underrated running back, I think he's one of the most underrated players in this entire draft. All I heard during the bowl season back in December.
Yeah.
Cam's name I was seeing everywhere. I couldn't get off Twitter without seeing him in his highlights. This man is a beast. He is a stud, and I think he will go down as a steal of this draft.
Like I said before, we needed running back, so you know what? And it was a 4th-round pick, so it's not like we had to trade a ton or took a 1st-round pick. So listen, I think this is fantastic news.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a great running back. We know running backs don't necessarily last long. So look, if we can get a great running back, have him for hopefully several years, I mean, it's fantastic, and
I'm happy about that.
So
I'm very happy.
It's all good news. Honestly, in Giants land, it's all good news. I don't know about Browns land, but in Giants land, it's all good news for us right now. So.
I'm having the time of my life, but I want to switch a little bit over to your T-shirt, your background. Talk a little bit about your Montreal Canadiens and the kind of game that they had last night, getting the win against the Capitals.
Unbelievable, Jacqueline. I obviously, watched all the games and super frustrating. I mean, the first game we got completely outplayed. 3rd period, we completely turned it on, as the Habs have done all year, right? Losing 2-1, losing 2-0, losing 3-2.
Yeah.
3rd period comes around, and they all of a sudden start turning it on. So we scored 2 goals in the 3rd period. I think it was Caulfield on the power play to make it 2-1, and then
I love Caulfield.
Unbelievable. I love him. He's like just a king. Honestly, just a king. But so he and then Suzuki tied it up, and then we obviously lose in overtime, leaving the greatest goal scorer of all time in the slot wide open. Unacceptable. I don't know how you do that. But frustrating loss because you come back and then just like have that emotional loss is brutal.
Yeah.
You go into game 2, we outplayed Washington. Not to get overanalyzed. We just
I missed that game. I did not watch game 2.
In the 3rd period, Jacqueline, we were pouring it on. Thompson completely saved them. We had multiple chances, hit the post, missed empty nets. We ended up losing 3-1, but a little bit misleading because their 3rd goal was an empty netter with 0.5 seconds left. So it could have easily been a game that they outright won or at least went to overtime.
Yeah.
So I was pretty frustrated going to last night. Obviously super excited back at the Bell Center, back where it all started. And I don't know if you watched the game, Jacqueline, but to say they played amazing is an understatement. We were hammering Washington from the first second to the last second. In every facet of the game, we outplayed them. Both the first 2 games, the one thing I will say that Washington had over us is they were more physical. They're a bigger team. They outmuscled us. They bullied us. Not last night. We put in Arbor. He was in their ears from the first second of the game till the end, fighting at the end of the 2nd period. We were more physical. We were in their zone the whole time. As a Habs fan, I couldn't be happier. I mean, a bunch of huge goals. It was just, it was incredible. And a must win, right? Like you're down 2-0. If you lose that game, you're done.
At home.
We're not beating Washington 4 straight. I'm not delusional here. If we go down 3-0, see you later. If Ovechkin has 4 chances to close you out, he's closing you out. Like, that's it. So a must-win game. The boys pulled through. I couldn't be happier. I got all my gear behind me, and I honestly couldn't be happier. Now Sunday night, huge game Sunday night for the boys. So
Yeah, and Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson were both fined $5,000 for
and they're both
unsportsmanlike conduct
sitting on the
for
bench
that.
for I think 12 minutes, right? 12 minutes of the.
Crazy. That
It's
brawl was crazy, man.
I mean, both the goalies getting injured, right? Strom running over his own goalie on the Slavkovsky goal. I mean, it was a wild game. I think both goalies probably won't be playing game 4. I assume. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but when he exited Thompson, he looked like woozy and he was all over. He did not look okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Montybo, I think it looked like lower body, maybe a pulled hamstring. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, he couldn't put pressure, I don't think, on his leg or anything.
Yeah, but look, Dobish came in and couldn't be happier for him, right? He came in. I don't know if you saw his quote after the game. He said, I was terrified, I was excited, and when the game ended, I cried because he was so relieved that it worked out. He literally cried. So I'm super happy for Dobish. He got it done for the guys, and it just, listen, it was a great night to be a Habs fan. I'll say that. So
it was electric. Like, watching that game, man, I wanted to be there in Montreal because, oh boy.
I actually almost went with a friend and didn't end up going because it was expensive, and Montreal's not next door. It's like a 6-hour drive from Toronto, right? So, but I couldn't be happier. I'm pumped up for Sunday night, and we win Sunday night, and seriously, it's we got a chance to get back in this series.
It's a real series.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Leafs Sens?
Of course. Listen, the world's biggest Leafs hater, of course, has been watching Leafs Sens.
It's been something, man.
Yes. I got it. Listen. Even as the biggest Leafs hater, I got to give it to them, right? They've showed up. They got a real coach in Brube there.
Yeah.
They got it done in overtime. Listen, like old Leafs, and listen, the series is not done, so maybe they still do choke. But the Leafs of the last 8 years, 9 years, those overtime games, they're for sure losing one of them, maybe both, right? They always find a way to choke. They've done the opposite, right? They killed Ottawa in the first game, and the last 2 games, they found a way to close out 2 tight games. So even as a Habs fan, as someone who absolutely despises the Leafs and Leafs fans, I got to give them credit. They went up 3-0, and they're looking good.
The Leafs are definitely looking. This is the best that they've looked. I consider myself a Leafs fan. I'm more of a Rangers fan though, but I'm always cheering for Toronto. Like, I still grew up a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
This is the best that they have looked, I think, in my lifetime as being a hockey fan. Back in the days, like when I was a real Leafs fan, that was when it was Phil Kessel and JVR and Dion Phaneuf. Like that was when I was a Leafs fan. Then I became a Rangers fan with Marty St. Louis there and Lundqvist, like the good Rangers days.
Yeah.
But the Leafs look their very best now. Matthews looks great. Marner, Nyes, Nylander, Morgan Rielly looks great. He's been there forever too. And their coaching is the best that I've seen it in my lifetime as well.
Yeah.
I think that they are the real deal. Listen, could we see Habs Leafs in the future?
Let me ask you this before we even talk Habs Leafs. Can I ask you something even more important, Jacqueline? Do they close tonight? Do they completely shut the door and sweep the Senators? What are your thoughts on that?
I think Leafs are losing the next 2, but they're winning. They're winning the last.
The city's gonna start melting down if they lose back to back.
I do.
You think they're gonna end up closing it, but in Game 6 is what you think?
They're gonna close it in Game 6. I think.
You think a little bit of a choke, a slight little choke is what
I think the Leafs are the best that they've been, but they're still the Leafs.
Wow.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm very unlikely for them to sweep. The Leafs are gonna leave.
The Leafs are going to leave, and listen, I love to make fun of them, and they're a joy for me every playoff season, making fun of my friends and family and watching people freak out. It's a joy. This year is different.
Yeah.
No, Owen, I'm telling you, this year is different, and it's never different. I will say this. They give me a ton of joy, the Leafs. As much as I'd love the Senators to win 4 straight, I mean, it would be like chef's kiss if the Leafs lost 4 straight. My prediction is they lose tonight. I think Ottawa's going to come out fired up. I think they're going to play by far their best game. I think Ottawa wins tonight. I mean, just my gut feeling. I think the Leafs win in 5, though. I think the players, the fans, the coaches, they all know what's happened the last several years. I think they go back to Toronto. They're fired up. I think they get it done in 5. That's my prediction. I think if it does go to 6, it's almost like same old Leafs in a sense because, yes, you still won the series, but it's like you couldn't just really you know what I mean? You couldn't do the team in. I think if they lose tonight and still win in 5, you go into round 2 and you're feeling fantastic, although you have Tampa or Florida waiting for you, which, by the way, Tampa and Florida play Game 3 in literally 1 minute. Probably Florida, right? Florida's up 2-0, and Florida's amazing. So, listen, regardless, the Leafs are in tough in round 2, but, as much as it pains me to say, I do think they're probably going to win it in 5. But, But TBD, right? You never know with those Maple Leafs. You never know, Jacqueline.
You never know. You never know with them, and that's been the life of every Leafs fan. But yeah, I think we're gonna close it out like that. As of right now, Sanders still not been selected. It is currently 1:00 p.m. and
Wow.
Shedeur Sanders, man, is not being selected. And could he go undrafted? Could he go undrafted?
I mean, it's unbelievable to think about. I'm going to say no. My gut instinct to say no. Someone is going to go.
Who's going to pick him, though? Who? Who's going to pick him so late?
Look, we know how important a quarterback is. It's the most important position in the league by far. I at this point, I'm not sure who's taking him, but I just feel like there's got to be a coach, a GM, someone who's going to go, look, there's all these issues, right? He might interview bad. There's scandal, whatever's going on, but let's take him. We have a serious talent here. It's worth taking the risk. So I don't know who's taking him, but my gut feeling is telling me at some point he will be taken today. He'll be drafted and he'll end up on a team. But the drama if he's not drafted, Jacqueline, that will be another level.
The crazy thing too is that no one predicted this. No analyst, no insider, no fan, right? Everyone likes to make their predictions. Some like to make hot takes, crazy takes, right? For views, for content. Not a single insider predicted this. And watching the NFL Network, they were speechless last night. They're speechless after round 1, and then they're speechless after 2 and 3. They are speechless, and they don't have answers. And it's very uncommon for insiders and analysts to not have any answers whatsoever.
If I'm not wrong, I think, and I'm totally forgetting the gentleman's name, but I think he's an analyst or some insider. He said it was disgusting. There was a quote going around. You might know who I'm talking about. I completely don't remember his name. But there was a quote. It was, I think, going around on Twitter. He was saying like it was disgusting. Like he was outright disgusted about what's happening to Sanders. I'm not sure if he has a personal relationship with Dion and Shedeur. I don't know. But he seemed like he was shocked and disgusted from his quote. You could look this up after.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, like no one has answers. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Also, if we're talking about him getting drafted in the first round, a lot of people were thinking Pittsburgh, right? The NFL Network, they're saying Pittsburgh is a landing spot at 21. That makes a lot of sense.
was begging the Steelers to draft him.
Yeah, the issue is Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin, one of the all-time great coaches. He's unbelievable. He knows what he's doing. He's had Ben Roethlisberger. He's one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, period. So if there are issues there, Mike Tomlin's the guy who's not going to put up with it. So I could totally have seen the Steelers considering it, Mike Tomlin basically being, that's not happening. Not under my watch. If I'm that coach of this football team, we ain't having this guy, right? So who knows how it plays out, Jacqueline? Who knows?
It's absolutely absurd to me. Yep, still not selected, but we're going to end it here. We're going to end it with Sanders currently undrafted at 1:03 p.m. on the last day of the draft. Absolutely crazy. Well, there's still 3-4 more rounds to go.
Yeah.
But so you could end up being,
I was saying thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you for coming on. Absolutely insane Giant stuff, man. Like, I could not be happier with this draft, with Abdul Carter, with Jaxson Dart, and now with Cam. I'm excited to get my Skattebo jersey. Eventually, gonna get my Jaxson Dart.
I'm going with the Dart jersey. I'm going with that Dart jersey. That's too good of a jersey to pass up on. What a name.
When he's named as a starter eventually, I'm getting that Dart jersey. Are you kidding me?
Imagine throwing a 45-yard touchdown, and you have the Dart on the back of your Giants jersey. It doesn't get any better than that. Come on.
I've never been so excited for a season. I'm not even kidding, man. I've never been so excited. We're going to be watching every single Sunday. These Giants, baby. They're going to win it. If it's with Russell Wilson now, fine. Russell Wilson, go win us a Super Bowl and retire as a champion. Yeah. And then Jaxson Dart will come right in and keep on winning us more rings. That is what's going to happen to this Giants team. Owen, thank you so much. Let's go Giants. Good luck to your Habs, and thank you for joining the show.
Have a good
day, everyone. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.